she don't stop her evil ways.
He said Mom was a witch and not gonna burn her up.
A girl who is solving a murder case and does not know she is next on the killer's list. This film is about a woman named Annie whose husband has passed away. She is a mother of 3 children and has a special gift. She can see people's past and future. Annie uses this ability to make a living and provide for her family, considering it a gift from God. This is why the movie is called The Gift. When a young woman is murdered in her town and the police have no leads, Annie decides to help them solve the case because she knew the victim. The movie will show how Annie uses her power to find the killer. The story begins with Annie looking into a customer's future. She's a kind woman who helps as many people as she can. A woman named Valerie comes to see her, distraught because her husband, Donnie, is abusive and constantly beats her. Annie advises Valerie to get a divorce, but Valerie is terrified, believing Donnie will kill her if she leaves him. Soon after, Annie is called to her son's school because he got into a fight. She apologizes to the principal for her son's behavior. While there, she runs into Colin and his fiancée, Jessica. As Annie is leaving, Jessica asks her to tell their future. When Annie sees Jessica, she has a vision of the young woman's feet in a terrible condition, but she doesn't mention it. She simply tells them their future will be fine and leaves. Next, Annie goes to her friend Buddy's garage to get her car repaired. Buddy is a good friend who won't take her money for the work. He offers to drive her home in his truck, and on the way, he confesses that he's been having very negative, suicidal thoughts. Buddy cries as he shares this, and Annie comforts him like a true friend. That night, Valerie's husband, Donnie, shows up at Annie's house. He accuses her of turning his wife against him and believes she is a witch practicing black magic. He threatens her, but Annie warns him she'll call the police, and he leaves. The next day, Annie is with a customer when Valerie shows up to apologize for Donnie's behavior. Annie again tells Valerie she needs legal help, not her supernatural guidance. Suddenly, Donnie appears and forcefully drags Valerie away from Annie's house in front of everyone. Later, Annie attends a party with her friends. She meets Colin and Jessica again, and Colin asks her to dance, but she declines. At the party, Annie sees Jessica with another man in a room, realizing that Jessica is cheating on Colin. Annie goes outside, where she talks to Colin again. Their conversation suggests a mutual attraction, and seeing him reminds Annie of her late husband. Just then, Jessica comes out and Colin walks away. When Annie gets home after picking up her kids from a neighbor, she feels like someone is in her house. She checks the rooms and finds her door wide open. In her room, the word devil is written on a card, and she hears Donnie's truck outside. It's clear that Donnie is responsible for all of this, and the next day, Annie calls the police to report him. Since Annie has no proof against Donnie, the police can't do anything. Later, her friend Buddy comes to her house, still bothered by his negative thoughts. Annie uses her cards and sees a vision that Buddy's father did something bad to him when he was a child, though she can't see what it was. When she tries to tell Buddy, he gets angry and lashes out at her. He quickly apologizes and leaves. Later, Annie gets another threatening call from Donnie. That night, she has a terrifying dream where someone is strangling her. The next day, she discovers through a friend and the newspaper that Jessica is missing. While Annie's son is out on an errand, Donnie approaches him and tries to turn him against his mother. Buddy arrives and, seeing this, starts smashing Donnie's truck. Donnie pulls a gun on Buddy, but Buddy doesn't back down, so Donnie leaves. Jessica's father, the principal, and the police detective Colin come to Annie's house. The police have searched everywhere and can't find Jessica. Jessica's father pleads for Annie's help. Annie looks at their future, and the cards all point to water. She tries to explain a place she's seeing in her vision, but the detective keeps interrupting, as he doesn't believe in her abilities. Still, Annie tells them what she can. That night, Annie has a vision of herself at the same location and believes she will find Jessica's body in a nearby lake. The next day, she tells the detective her theory. Initially, he's skeptical, but he agrees to investigate. The location Annie described matches a place near Jessica's house, which happens to be owned by Donnie. Donnie's wife has already given permission for them to search the lake. Donnie shows up and tries to get the police to leave, but they refuse. Seeing Annie there, He realizes she's the one who led the police to him and tries to attack her. The police quickly arrive and manage to calm Donnie down. They soon find Jessica's body in the nearby lake and arrest him right away. Later, a government lawyer questions Annie. She learns that Jessica was with David on the night of the party, but she decides not to share this information with the lawyer. The next day in court, it's revealed that Jessica and Donnie got into a fight and he hit her on the night of the party. Outside the courthouse, Buddy tries to tell Annie why he is so angry with his father, but Annie is too stressed from the court case to listen. That evening, Buddy's mother calls Annie. When she gets there, she finds that Buddy has tied his father to a chair. It is at this point that Annie learns the shocking truth. Buddy's father had sexually abused him when he was a child. This terrible secret explains Buddy's violent and angry behavior. Annie tries to talk Buddy out of what he is doing, but he refuses to listen. In a terrible moment of rage and revenge, Buddy sets his father on fire. The police arrive and arrest Buddy, who is then sent to a mental hospital. The following day in court, another shocking detail is revealed. Donnie and Jessica were also having an affair. On the night of the party, after Donnie hit Jessica, he was taking her to the hospital. However, she woke up and told him to leave her. Despite this new information, all the evidence still points to Donnie. During questioning, he gets very angry with David and wrongly blames Annie for the murder. In the end, the court finds Donnie guilty and sentences him to jail. The next day, a woman named Valerie comes to see Annie for a psychic reading. As Annie looks into Valerie's future, she realizes something important and upsetting. Donnie is not the killer. She decides not to tell Valerie what she saw. Driven by this new certainty, Annie goes to see Colin. He has been very depressed since Jessica's death. Annie explains her vision to him and asks if he has any of Jessica's old clothes, hoping to use them to see the past more clearly. He tells her he doesn't have anything. Back at home, Annie focuses on seeing Jessica's past. She has a vision of someone hitting Jessica with a flashlight, but she cannot see the killer's face. Determined to get to the bottom of the case, Annie goes to David's house and shares her vision, asking him to reopen the investigation. When he refuses, Annie threatens to tell the police about his affair with Jessica. David tries to bribe her with money, but Annie is committed to finding the truth. She feels a heavy sense of guilt, believing that an innocent person, regardless of his other faults, is being punished for a crime he didn't commit. As Annie drives home, she thinks she sees her older sister standing near her house. However, when she gets out of the car, her sister is gone. Annie believes it was just her imagination. Later, Colin comes to Annie's house. He is very worried because Annie told him the real killer is still free. He asks her to look into his future, but she gets no vision. Colin then suggests they go to the murder site, hoping it will help Annie get a vision. She reluctantly agrees. Once they arrive, Annie walks around the area and has a vision. She sees blood coming from her own head and also sees her older sister there. Walking a bit further, she has another vision that shows what happened after Donnie left Jessica. The vision reveals that Jessica met with Colin after Donnie left. Colin found out about all of Jessica's affairs and became furious because she was only marrying him to please her father. In a fit of rage, he strangled her to death. Annie's face shows that she now knows the truth, and Colin realizes she knows. Annie tries to run away, but Colin catches her and hits her on the head with a flashlight, just like in her vision. He is about to attack her again, but her older sister appears and saves her. They manage to put Colin in the trunk of Annie's car. Inside the car, Annie thanks her sister and asks her how she got there, since she was supposed to be in the hospital. Her sister replies that she ran away and returns a handkerchief to Annie, the same one Annie had given her earlier when she was crying. When they get to the police station, Annie tells her sister that she needs to go back to the hospital. Her sister agrees, and Annie goes inside to call the police. When she looks back, her sister is gone, and Annie assumes she went back to the hospital on her own. Inside, the police confirm that Colin has confessed to the murder. The police are confused and ask Annie how she managed to catch him by herself. Annie says that Buddy was with her and knocked Colin out. The police don't believe her because Buddy had committed suicide in the hospital. The police are also unsure how Colin was knocked unconscious. Annie looks at the handkerchief her sister gave back to her and realizes it is the one she had given to Buddy when he was in the truck. Annie understands that Buddy's spirit came back to help her even after his death. She feels a mix of sadness and gratitude at this realization. The story ends with Annie visiting her children's father's grave. Hope you liked the movie. Please like and subscribe to the channel.